Welcome back to the channel, Next Family. It's Terry, and today we will be cooking lamb chops, baked potatoes, sauteed mushrooms, and shrimp. Let's cook together. In this video, these are the seasonings that you will need to prepare this dish. I'm not going to name them all right now, but as we cook with them, I will let you know what seasonings I'm using. Here we have our shrimp. You can get your shrimp from the seafood department or frozen. A half stick of imperial butter and a half stick of real butter is used in this recipe. 1 pack of baby bella mushrooms already sliced, and 4 russet potatoes, depending on how many people you're cooking for. We also have 4 flanks of lamb chops with 2 apiece. And we're gonna start by cleaning our shrimp. Make sure that our shrimp are not gooey at all, slimy at all. Rinse them a couple times. You don't want them to have any grossness on them, slime especially. I just kind of rub them under the water until I feel like they don't feel slimy or fishy at all, I guess. If you hear any breathing heavily, it's my youngest son. He's right here. He just woke up from a nap. Rinse your mushrooms. Just because they're already cleaned, that the box says they're already cleaned, does not mean that they're already cleaned, honey. There might be little bugs in them, little dirt in them. Just rinse them off real good and thoroughly. And we have our 4 russet potatoes. This is our cleaning hack. If you just run it under the water, you see that nothing is happening. But if you scrub it with a potato peeler brush or any kind of brush and run it under the water, you'll see that it makes such a big difference. And you just kind of keep brushing and running under the water until the water runs clear. See, look at that. Dirty old potato. And when your water is clear, you move on. Nick had to make an entrance. Poke your potatoes because you don't want them to explode in the oven. I suggest that you don't do it like that. Do it more like this. It's a little bit more safer, or safe as the correct way to say it would be. Get a piece of foil. I would say to use a healthier oil. You don't have to use this vegetable oil. If you have avocado oil or any kind of healthier oil alternative, use that. You don't have to be unhealthy like me. Wrap it up in the foil, and they're just going to go in the oven at about 425 for about 50 minutes. I would do this before you even get started with the lamb chops because they do take 50 minutes. I did 420. It took me a little bit longer. You do 425 for 50 minutes. Cutting the lamb chops is very easy. Just slice straight down. If you hit a snag, it just means that you're not cutting straight. Just move your knife over a little bit and your lamb chops will be perfectly cut. It's so satisfying to watch because it was just so easy. I have bought the packs of lamb chops that have the fat on them and all that. It's a lot of work. It's much easier to just buy them like this, and it's actually cheaper to just buy them like this. After I cut them, I just lay them out on my cutting board to season them because my cutting board is already contaminated with lamb chop juice, so why not just use it to season on. This is how much our lamb chop cost, $43.87, and our shrimp were $6.28. First, we're gonna go in with our adobo seasoning. Sorry it's a little blurry, you guys. Then our Tonys. Just layering it, just a little layer of everything. That was onion powder. Here's our garlic powder. And here's our pepper. If you don't prefer spice, I would use probably a little bit less Tonys and a little bit less black pepper. Our cast iron skillet was already preheated. We put it on medium until it heated up. When it gets all steamy and hot like that, you know it's done. You don't want to have it too high because then your lamb chops will burn and they'll be smoke all over your house. Right here, we're just trying to make sure that each lamb chop has its own individual little space and that it's all the way flat on the cast iron skillet because we want to make our lamb chops golden on each side before we put it into the oven. We'll leave them like this for about 5 minutes, and while they're like this, we'll season the other side of our lamb chops. Going with the little Tonys. On this side, I did season a little bit less because I didn't want it to be too salty. Then I added my black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. I'm heavy with my onion and garlic powder because it doesn't have any salt. It just adds a little bit of flavor. Then we add our adobo. Adobo is mostly garlic powder, Italian seasoning. It's a really light, gentle flavoring. It's not very salty or spicy at all. Like I said, that was about 5 minutes, and then we flip them to the other side. I do want you to see how beautiful these lamb chops are. They are the perfect cut. They got perfectly golden brown. Don't worry if it looks like it's a little burnt. It's not burnt, guys. Just adding some texture and flavor. It's kind of like a little puzzle right here, making them all fit, but you can do it. If you can't do it, if they think it's too much and it's too much to worry about, just do half at a time. Half your lamb chops and the other half of your lamb chops. This is a full pan right here. Sure that they're all touching the pan. You do want to have that texture on your lamb chops. This is the finished product for how your lamb chops will look before you put them in the oven. Yes, they are still raw, you guys. The oven will cook them the rest of the way, but they're perfectly colored. Now we're going to add a half a stick of butter. This is real butter. It's not imperial butter this time. I just think that this type of butter is perfect for flavoring and to keep the moisture on the lamb. Cut it up, throw it in. Spread it out because it's not going to move once it gets in there. It's just going to melt. Add about a tablespoon of garlic. If you're not a big garlicky person, add less. And add some Italian herbs. I added the Italian herbs once they went in the oven because I did not want my herbs to burn, and the steam will cause them to rehydrate and they'll slowly add more flavor over the time that they're in the oven. Cover your pan with foil. Be careful because cast irons are hot. You have to have gloves when you use your cast iron or the cast iron protectors. Now we're going to cook our shrimp. This is the easiest way in life to cook shrimp. Half a stick of butter, your shrimp, about a half a pound of shrimp. Season with garlic powder. Not garlic salt, you guys. When I say garlic powder, I don't mean garlic salt. Garlic salt can be very salty and overwhelming if you have salt in other forms. So just get garlic powder. This is black pepper, about a teaspoon. And your Tonys. If you don't like spice, a little less Tonys, or you could just use a little bit of season-all. I'll probably use about 2 teaspoons of Tonys and about half a tablespoon of garlic. And then we add a little paprika. Paprika is a little bit more for color. I think it does add a little bit of spice, but it's mostly for color because I didn't have cayenne. And I have to like mentally trick myself because I do prefer cayenne because I like spice. But again, if you don't like spice, stay away from that.
That's what I do it for.
Here's a little feature of my family. I have to add them in every video because they're just too adorable and I love my babies. The little one is the one that's here breathing all in my microphone. This is the big one, Xavier. If you check out our family channel, you'll see more of them.
I love you, Mommy.
And this is Zane. And this is our shrimp just cooking over time. It took about 7 minutes. Just literally let it steam up. Once they curl up a little bit, they're done. And it's really the simplest, like I told you, shrimp recipe you'll ever make in life. It does it all itself. You just season it and let it sit and it's done. Now to the side, we're gonna get a pan and we're gonna put some foil on it. Less dishes, y'all know how that works. Take our lamb chops out the oven, take them out of the pan and put them to the side because they do need to rest. Yummy. They did just cook in this little buttery fat oil that I'm gonna drizzle in slow-mo because look how delicious. Over the lamb chops, about 3 tablespoons. You don't have to like dip it and be all extra about it, but I just think that it'll absorb into them as they rest and make them more delicious. If there's a lot left in your pan, pour a little bit out into the sink or something, or wherever you put your oil. Ooh, look at them lamb chops. Because you are going to use it for the mushrooms. You're going to just pour your mushrooms into that pan, put it on medium, stir them up, add your adobo, about 2 teaspoons, teaspoon black pepper, maybe a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And make sure they're all evenly covered in the fatty butter that we have going on. And I put a little time lapse here of the mushrooms cooking so you can see how often I stir them and what they look like throughout the process of them getting caramelized. And there we go, they look perfect. You know they're done because they're a little softer, they're tender, they're a little smaller, and look at the way that butter is coating the pan. It's caramelized, it's perfect. My mouth is watering literally looking at this right now. And I did a little time lapse of me plating my food. I'm not the best at plating because at this point I'm always just starving, I'm just ready to eat. But I wanted you guys to see the finished look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna get better over time, but I am very confident in my cooking abilities and I would love for you guys to join me throughout my cooking process in my life, you know? Teach you how to cook something, teach you how to impress people, make it seem like it's your own recipe. I don't even mind, girl or boy. But look how delicious. Oh. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting. Make sure you thumbs up and like this video.